Hey, welcome to today's lesson. Today we're going to continue to work with equivalent fractions and number lines. Our learning target is I can use equivalent fractions on a ruler to compare fractions. So the number line we're going to work with today is a ruler. It's the first inch of a traditional U.S. customary system ruler. And so let's take a look at it. We have 0 here. This is 0 inches. And the number line goes across here with the lines that break it up into pieces here. And this number line ends at 1 inch. So we have a 0 to 1 inch number line. And of course, as we can see over here, the number line continues on. It takes 12 inches to make a foot. A traditional ruler is 12 inches. But here we're zoomed up and we're only going to focus on the first inch today because every inch is identical. So if we can learn about this inch, we'll learn about all the inches. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by labeling this number line with fractional pieces. And that's the first thing you're going to do in your work today as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. We have to start now. We have 0 to 1, and we see this line here. It's a little bit larger than all these other lines, isn't it? It's a little bit longer. It's not quite as long as the 1 inch line, the 0 inch line, but it's longer than all the rest. And that's pretty typical of how rulers are organized. That is halfway between, if we start at 0, we can count 1, 2. It's halfway between 0 and 1. So 0 inches we could think of as 0 halves. 1 inch we could think of as 2 halves. And of course, right in the middle, we have 1 half. Now, if we take a look next at these, the next longest lines here and here, we can see that if we use those lines and count, they break this inch up into fourths. Check it out. Ready? 1. And then we go to half. That's 2 fourths. That's 2. 3, 4. So we're going to label these lines with fourths. So let's go ahead and pick maybe green this time. So we'll have 0 fourths here at 0. This is the 1/4 line. Of course, 1 half, this is 2 fourths. 2 is half of 4. This is 3 fourths. And 2 and 1 whole is, of course, 4 fourths. And already we see some equivalent fractions popping up on this same number line. Check it out. 0 halves and 0 fourths are equivalent. 1 half and 2 fourths are equivalent. And 2 halves and 4 fourths are equivalent because they take the same place on the number line. Let's look at the next longest lines here and here and here and here. Now, if we add in the lines we've already counted, the fourths and the halves, we can count, and we'll see that. Check this out. Ready? Starting at 0, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These lines, in addition to the fourths and halves, count eighths. So let's go ahead and label the eighths on this ruler. And let's use another color. Let's use yellow this time. Let's see. We have 0 eighths. Almost running out of space down there, aren't we? We have 1/8. We have 2/8, right? Look at that. 1, 2. 2/8. We have 3/8. We have 4/8. Now 4 is half of 8. And we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Let me back up there. Okay. We have 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. More equivalent fractions are now appearing on our number line. We can see that 1/4 and 2/8 are equivalent. 1 half, 2 fourths, and 4/8 are all equivalent. 3 fourths and 6/8 are equivalent. We have one last set of lines to label. The shortest lines of all here on the number line. Now, if we take these in addition to all the other lines we've labeled, and we simply count, starting at 0, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The smallest lines on a ruler, a traditional U.S. customary system ruler, break each inch up into 16ths. So let's go ahead and label that with our final color. Let's use red this time. Let's see, 0 would be 0/16. Then we have 1/16, 2/16, 3/16, 4/16. And of course, we can count and check to see if we're correct. If we start at 0, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4/16, right? 4/16. Let's keep counting. We have 5/16, 6/16, 7/16, and 8/16. And 8, of course, is half of 16. That would make sense that it's equal to half. 9/16, 10/16, 11/16, 12/16, 13/16, 14/16, 15/16, and 1 whole, of course, is 16/16. Look at that. We have a fully labeled ruler number line. And look at all the equivalent fractions. 1/8 is equal to 2/16. 1/4, 2/8, and 4/16 are all the same amount. They take the same place in the number line. 1/2 is equal to 2/4, 4/8, and 8/16. 5/8 and 10/16 are equivalent. Look at them all. Now, we're not going to stop here. We have put equivalent fractions labeled correctly on a number line. But what's the purpose of all this? Well, in addition to just understanding fractions and equivalent fractions better, we can use this information to start comparing fractions, right? So check it out. I have down here 3 fractions, and I'm being asked to write them in order from least to greatest. I can use this number line to do that. How? Well, the numbers, the fractions that are closest to 1 will be greatest, right? The further along you go in this number line, the bigger the fractions get, starting at 0 and moving to 1. So let's go ahead and just find these 3 fractions, 3/4, 5/16, and 7/8. All right. Any colors I haven't used yet? No, I think I've used all the colors. So let's go ahead and just use black. Okay. So 3/4, let's see if we look for 3. Oh, there's 3/4 right here. You see it over there? 5/16. 5/16 is, let's see here, right here. And 7/8 is right here. So now the ruler, the number line, has put these fractions in order for us. If I want to write those in order from least to greatest, I'm going to write, let's see, 5/16 first. That's the smallest because it's right here. It's the closest to 0 or the furthest from 1. You can think of it either way. 3/4 comes next, so I'll write 3/4. 3/4 comes next. And then 7/8 is the closest fraction to 1. It's the largest fraction. So I'll write that here, 7/8. And I'll put commas between them. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll put 5/16 is less than 3/4, and that's less than 7/8. There you go. I can use the fractions on this number line to order these fractions from least to greatest. The least fractions are closest to 0. The greatest fractions are closest to 1. All right, so today's work, you're going to get a blank number line, looks just like this. And you're going to label it just like I did here. You're going to label each piece and all the equivalent fractions. Start with 1/2. Start with the next longest line on the ruler. Then use fourths. And then label the eighths. And then label the 16ths. So when you're done, your ruler will look very similar to mine. And then you're going to get a number of sets of fractions that are not in any kind of order. And you're going to place them in order from least to greatest, just like I did right here. All right, so 2 parts to today's work. Label the number line, and then use it to order some fractions from least to greatest. Sound good? Okay, let's get to it.